Oi, what's the best game where you get to eat pie? What's the best game where you play a dead guy? Aye? You'll find out in VG247's podcast. Here, what's the best game where you swing from a rope? And what's the best game where you batter the Pope? Assassin's Creed 2. Like I said, you will find out in this here podcast. Hello and welcome to VG247's Best Games Ever podcast, where we try to find the best game within a very specific category. For example, this week we're looking for the best game that you keep playing while your backlog grows. So like an old game that you can't stop messing around with, even though there's tons of new games coming out every week, especially last year, that you've barely touched because you keep playing Morrowind or whatever. Nobody's actually picked Morrowind, I hope not. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because people who keep sort of, instead of trying new things, just going back to things they were doing 10 years ago because it's comforting. And that's largely why we had Simon Miller and Steve Burns on the podcast last time. But that's by the by. But now we've got Rebecca Jones and Mark Warren, who actually work at the site. So
Hi.
How you guys doing? Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was really sick the entire time, but yeah, it was actually really nice.
I mean, is it Christmas if someone isn't horrendously ill?
No, it's not. I mean, it was quite impressive. My whole family, 26 people, just slowly domino affecting with COVID. But yeah, everyone's fine.
At least it keeps things interesting. You can have like a sweepstakes of who's going to go down with it next.
Oh, we should have thought of that. I think we were all too busy just like taking really long naps. But yeah, it was actually nice. And luckily no one was seriously ill. So we were able to relax and that was good. That's
the best kind of Christmas you can hope for. Relaxing, nobody died.
Right,
yeah.
Win-win.
Yeah, exactly. So joining us also is Tom Ori, who's furious about something.
I was a bit miffed that I didn't get introduced first, to be honest.
Sorry, right, okay. It was the wee smirk you did there that betrayed the fact that you're not actually bothered about that.
Super bothered about it.
Ever so slightly there. All right, okay. So we need to get into it because we have an extra segment later on. Which we'll intro at the time, but this is an extended version of the podcast. It's not going to be extended all the time, but we're trialing a new thing this week. More on that later. But firstly, Mark, what have you got for the topic of best game in your backlog that you keep playing despite the fact that your backlog keeps growing? I explained that badly.
You know how the one time that I've won so far has been the time when I wasn't genuine and sincere, and I just kind of went off on one in a very silly fashion about a video game that really shouldn't have been nominated.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing that today.
Yeah.
Because I'm going with the ultimate genuine pick for me, which is Fallout New Vegas, known to many as the thinking man's Fallout game or the pretentious man's modern Fallout game.
Yeah.
It's the thing that just, I first played it many years ago and it just keeps relentlessly sucking me back in. It's got everything you could want. Lads dressed as Romans, lads dressed as World War I troops. You know, a conflict that centers around a group of people who want things to stay the same as they were in a bygone era that can't be brought back, and also a faction of people wearing red led by somebody who is simultaneously completely mental and also doesn't have a sense of humor. So there's no allegory for current UK politics here. But yes, basically
I was looking for the Tom Ori allegory there. I couldn't quite find it. But
yes, basically it's a game that I first played, and as with all games that I play, completely didn't get. Just, why do people love this thing? Then went back, played it again, and completely fell in love with it and made it a good, 2/3 of my personality now. It's just Fallout New Vegas references. That's a poster that's of Fallout New Vegas. There's another one over here off camera that you can't see. Yes, I don't have women in this bedroom very often. But yes, it's one of those games that if you like the side of the Fallout series that is just men standing in rooms going, the bombs have dropped, what does this mean for our soul, in a way that is either Shakespearean or just very, very crap. It's just outstanding, because there's the guy from Friends who, R.I.P., shoots you in the head. I'm doing a bit of a plot synopsis now. I've segued if you're not keeping up.
Okay.
But yes, it starts with him shooting you in the head, and you survive because you haven't got any brains, which is because the game is about to spend a lot of time telling you that by having men just aggressively speak at you, which is the premise of at least like 2 of the DLCs, is just some lad talks at you about things. One of them looks a bit like a mummy. One of them wears a trench coat and looks a bit like a school shooter. Yeah. Which you're going to have to cut out, sorry. But yes.
I won't. I'm just leaving it in. You said it. You'll be in trouble.
Oh, well. Good promise. But yes, the central conflict is the 2 factions that I talked about earlier, plus a bunch of other factions that you may or may not care about. Basically fighting over a dam, which is better to me than either Fallout 4, where the main conflict is, well, from the point of view of one of the factions, is just about whether you want to turn a reactor on, and the
which
Fallout
you would think
3,
it would be a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, and Fallout 3, which is just who gets to turn the thing on. You know, is it the bad power armor lads or the good power armor lads? And I love power armor lads, but this game has power armor lads plus extra. But yes, that's basically why I love it, and it has the best Bethesda DLCs aside from the Shivering Isles, which is in a league of its own, because it's just, what if Bethesda did a thing that was mad on purpose rather than accidentally?
It's a really good summary of the Shivering Isles. I like it. Okay, all right, New Vegas. Yeah, it's an interesting one, because it's a game that you can just play endlessly, even without modding, right? Because there's so many permutations of how the Fallout New Vegas story can go.
Yeah. You can play anything endlessly, though, Jim, can't you?
But I mean, you know,
I've got a slight issue with what Mark's saying.
Yeah, all right, okay.
And that, I was listening to that. I got distracted towards the end, if I'm honest, because I got bored with all of the plot synopsis stuff. But basically, I'm summarising what you said was you like this game because it's got lads in it who wear clothes and talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I mean, if you're going to be that reductive,
that's I heard. But lads were mentioned a lot, but
you should have heard
points
his reasons why he likes Midnight Club.
I mean, I'm glad I didn't.
This is by far the most coherent pitch that I've delivered so far.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware.
It started off quite strong, but then you went down the corner route of too much info.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I've had enough. Keep it quite tight as an explanation.
I don't think you did at all. I think you're being very unfair.
You've got to stop the rambling, because no one else rambles on this podcast.
It's a game that's about men rambling. So if I represented it in a way that wasn't just a man rambling, it wouldn't be accurate.
Can I just point out, as the person who all the rambling is done to before the audience gets it, we're now only 8 minutes into the recording, where if this was Connor or Donaldson, we would be 17 minutes in with no signs of the flow stopping at all. So actually, Mark's pitch was pretty succinct, Tom.
It felt longer though, didn't it?
Right, okay. Let's move on. Right, Rebecca.
Hello.
What is in your backlog that you can't get enough of?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll admit I was pretty nervous at the start of this episode, because from your intro, it sounded like you were gonna have a bit of a go at people who do this thing of replaying games endlessly. You didn't. Thank you.
No.
But I was a little nervous because this episode is based on a suggestion I think I made in the chat.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's because this is one of my main vices. My gaming backlog consists of 20 games I've played a dozen times each, and hundreds of games that I've spent half an hour on and never touched again. This is a huge vice of mine. But last year I did a pretty good job actually of training myself out of it. I mostly played games that were new to me. I don't know. I'm kind of proud of that. It kind of wasn't the same. But the point is, there's one game that even last year I could not let go of. It was still one of my most played games of last year, even though I was playing a lot of new stuff. And that was Animal Crossing New Horizons, and remains Animal Crossing New Horizons into 2024. I've already played, it's the 9th of January as we record this, and I've already played so much more of this game that I have objectively finished than is reasonable in any measure, basically. It's like I have finished it. I mean, so yeah, a lot of the games that I like are really story-based, so I've replayed like BioShock and the Life is Strange games and like various visual novels that I like over and over again, and like that's fantastic. But the thing with Animal Crossing is it just has that little hook to keep you coming back, because it is just, check in with your friends, and you've made really good friends with the animals that you've invited to live on this island. And if you do have a Nintendo online subscription, they email you if you leave for too long and say, like, we're sad that you haven't been here in a while and we want you to come back and say hello. So it really is like the game is actively there to guilt trip you. But there was a point when I went home for Christmas, and I was really congratulating myself on like not having spent all of 2023 replaying the same games over and over and over again. And then I spent my first week home playing the exact same Christmas event that I've played every Christmas since 2020. And I was like, you know what, I'm still enjoying it. It is relaxing, but there is nothing new here. I have the reward objects like in a line outside of my villager's house. The same sleigh that Jingle the Reindeer gives you every Christmas for completing his little event day. Yeah. It just lined up outside my house. And it is still really charming and it's still really fun. And I think like a lot of people, I developed a really meaningful relationship with this game during lockdowns, and that's one of the reasons why I want to keep going back. And like there is that real relationship there and that like comfort and nostalgia. But I went on again.
The quintessential lockdown game, isn't it? For a lot of people.
It is. Like I'd never played an Animal Crossing game before. I kind of hope I never play another one, because I don't feel like I'm letting this one go in any way, shape or form. I went on yesterday and I got a little notification saying that it's the winter fishing tourney this Saturday, and I was like, I'm going to play it again, aren't I? Like I'm going on Saturday morning instead of playing something new to do the same fishing event, because I just like talking to CJ about his little, when he does the little animation where he takes your picture, where you take all the fish. I find it so adorable. I will go and play it again like a fool. I'm 800 hours into this game. It has nothing left to show me, but I love it, and it is literally the one game now, having trained myself out of this tendency with all other games. It is the one game I still keep going back to.
I mean, I think it's fair enough, especially if you've got a game that guilt, commits emotional blackmail to draw you back.
That's
in.
exactly what it is. I'm paying them specifically to do that as well.
Yeah, you got to get your money's worth. You got to feel sufficiently guilted. Some people just join the Catholic Church. Okay. So, Animal Crossing's a good one. I'm going to get into my pick later on.
Hold on, Rebecca.
Hello, Tom.
I just want to know how much you like this game.
A lot. I do actually genuinely like it.
Say, for example, you were hacked, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the person stole your account, right? Had all your Animal Crossing stuff on it, right?
Yeah.
And you got your email, come back, your friends are missing you, etc. Yeah.
Okay.
And the tourney was happening, and you're like, I really want to do that. And they said, hand over this amount of money. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way. The police aren't interested. They're not dealing with this kind of stuff, right? How much are you paying?
Okay.
How much are you paying to get it back?
I am absolutely not going to say that on this podcast. That is putting a target on my back, Tom.
Yeah, because the next episode will be what's your most recent crime reference number?
sounds like that's 0. So you don't know it that much.
I would contact Nintendo support like a sensible person. I have been hacked before, actually, not on Nintendo but on PlayStation, and I contacted Sony support, and they were very helpful. So. I would do the same. Like what you should do, listeners, if you do get hacked, please.
I do enjoy how you shut Tom down there.
Don't pay the money.
Sounds like just talking around rather than answering, which suggests
it's a much more sensible proposition to be like, I simply would not give money to criminals.
Since you've shut that down, does it lose points for having to rely on out-of-game nagging to bring you back? The only thing that's bringing me back to New Vegas is my soul.
Can I tell you a little secret, actually? The out-of-game nagging I know about because my friends have had it. I've never received that email because you get it after you haven't played for a month. And I've never gone a month without playing Animal Crossing since it was released.
So what you're saying is that we can't verify the existence of these emails. They exist solely on rumor and hearsay.
All the truth of all that whole story. But a minute ago, I believed these emails were coming to you, and now you're saying they're not. What else wasn't true? I mean, do you even play Animal Crossing?
I don't even play video games, Tom. I don't like them.
Yeah,
there we go.
I don't like them either. All right, okay. I mean, that's quite a revelation. I can't believe you've managed to work that out of Rebecca.
I know,
Wow.
right?
Like
You should be a
master
detective,
interrogator. Yeah, I mean, Mark should be the host, to be honest. Right. Okay, so right, we've got Animal Crossing: New Horizons. We've got Fallout New Vegas. Tom, what have you got for us?
I don't know really. I mean, this topic's not ideal for me because I mean, I barely play new games. I don't have time. It's certainly I'm not playing old games. I mean, I played those, right? What is the point?
Yeah.
So I mean, as everyone else is like, oh, at Christmas, I'll tell you what I did at Christmas, right? So, when's this going out? Is it going to be in January? Even it's going to be February. This episode.
It's
Christmas. Let's look at Christmas still, right? So,
okay.
I went away to a popular pre-Christmas, the week before Christmas, a popular family holiday location, resort in the UK. Won't say what it is because for legal reasons.
Spain.
Spain in the UK, and I won't recommend going away before Christmas, because there's a lot of pressure on, right? And you get back, you're like, suddenly you've missed a week of pre-Christmas, and everything has to happen in like 2 days, and that's quite stressful when you've got kids. But anyway, we were at this holiday resort, and we'd been to see Father Christmas because they put on a Father Christmas grotto, which is very nice, although lots of stairs. I didn't enjoy the stairs because we had a buggy and I had to, do we carry the buggy up the stairs?
You have to go up.
Do you carry the buggy? Do you wait for the lift? But there's like 8 billion buggies trying to get up the lift.
I thought you meant like everyone was staring at you for some reason.
No, that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
So we saw Father Christmas. It was one wonderful festive experience. There were elves. He gave out Cadbury selection boxes at the end. I didn't get one. The kids did, even though I paid for it. So that was fine. But then afterwards, my daughter was like, hungry. I'm hungry. That's how she says hungry, because I assume she thinks being cute means she gets more stuff. Yeah. So she's hungry. I'm like, you can't have your chocolate selection box because it's 10 a.m. We're about to go swimming. What do you want? We've got to get something quickly. Hungry. Do you want mini cheddars? No. Do you want literally any other food we have? No. And then she was like, brioche. She just says the word brioche repeatedly. I was like, all right, well, I'll just conjure up brioche from within this resort. So I went into the shop in there. They've got a toy shop and they've got like I don't know what you call it, like a news agent that also sells some bits and pieces, right? Yeah. Nothing fancy. I was like, there's no chance they've got brioche, but maybe they've got something similar. Yeah. I was walking down there and I saw some like pan au raisin and some croissants and stuff. Right. And then I just heard something. I wasn't really paying attention because I was looking for brioche, obviously, because that's what she wanted. And it's like, just in my peripheral hearing, if that's the thing, it's like, do a poo. And I was like, what is this? And I turned in this quite small sort of convenience store, and just to the side of the pan au raisin, there was a mother and her child who's about maybe 3, and he was sat on a potty, and she was like, do a poo. And I was like, what is going on here? You're doing this next to the pan au raisin in a family-oriented holiday resort. It's not like there's cheaper versions of holiday resorts. This was like mid-range, I would say. So I wasn't expecting this at the resort, to be honest. Right. And no one was doing anything about it. And I was like, whatever. I just can't deal with this at the moment. I was carried on looking for the brioche, which I did get. If you want to know, like, I did get some brioche. It wasn't like she wanted chocolate, brioche with chocolate bits in it, right? But I just got a plain brioche bun. It sort of did the job. And then it turns out that the swimming pool was closed after that as well, so that was disappointing. Yeah, that's what I did over the pre-Christmas period anyway. But yeah, back to...
You know what I love? You know what I really love about this? I just have to say this, is that I have a professional communication here from Tom on my other screen right now saying, let's keep it on the 30 minutes as possible for this episode. Mark and I, between us, were wrapped up at about 12 minutes, and then there was 8 minutes of this story. I love that. I'm so happy to be here for this. Happy New Year, everybody. Oh, it's February.
Tom's job is to tell us what to do so that it better facilitates what he wants to do, which is better than what we wanted to do anyway.
We were so on it, Mark. We were so on it.
Mark's got it. Right, so... Is this
you guys like bang out 5 minutes, absolutely done. He even found the audacity to complain then. This is taking a while.
It felt like a long time, right? I can't deny what I feel, right? So, the games. So I had to think
what you like, Gloria Gaynor, just like.
I had to think quite hard about the choice because, like I said, I don't really play old games. What's the point?
Right.
They're old. Mostly like old games aren't as good, etc.
Old games are shite, to be fair.
So I was thinking, is there anything that fits this? And it came to me, actually, almost every day for the last God knows how many years, I've played Microsoft Duel, which is the match 3 puzzle game thing, because it was tied to collecting Microsoft points, which then you can use to buy credit on the Xbox store, right? And I was like, for whatever reason, part of my life is spent wasting time playing this game to earn 5 points per day, which equates to like 0.00 pence, 1 pence or something, right?
Yeah.
Terrible use of time. But I've played this almost every day for years, right? And some days, for weeks, it's the only thing I play, probably. And then I looked at it this morning to check that it was called Microsoft Duel, and not Jewel or Bejeweled or whatever other versions there are. And they've updated it to Microsoft Duel 2. Right, so I've disqualified myself with that choice because it's the new game, right? It's not an old game anymore, so I can't use Duel. And I thought, what else can I go with? And I thought the only thing that I know that I will play almost every opportunity I have is Astro's Playroom on the PS5, right? And the reason I play that is because I only turn on the PS5 like once every 6 months, right?
Sorry, can I just say there's been a bewildering amount of twists in this fucking, like, carry on, sorry.
So I only turn it on every like 6 months, multiple months between turning on the PS5, because why would you turn it on? And I'm like, every time I turn it on, for whatever reason, like I've got to test something out, or I don't know, I need to charge a phone via the USB port or something. I'm like, I'll just give Astro a go because it's a fun little game to play, right? And just whiz around, hop on some stuff, look in the museum-y bit at the bits and pieces there. It's just a nice little game. It's like, oh, this is what they promised the controller would do and stuff. That's nice. And it's just a nice little game. And you know, you're going to say it's not old, right? It's going to be 4 years old this year. That's quite old. In game land.
In game terms.
I know I've taken some liberties there, considering it's only just turned 3, but it will be 4 this year. That's it. That's my game. It's a good game. Sold very well. Millions and millions and millions of copies of that.
Yeah.
And I think everyone loves Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
No one can argue otherwise.
To this day, the only PS5 game that's actually leveraged all the features in the controller. But yeah, okay. All right, Astro's Playroom. I have to cross out Microsoft Duel, cross out the other thing. Right, okay. Okay, right. We need to pick something now. But we're not going to use the traditional jingle because we've got a new jingle for that. Right. Okay. So, we've got Astro's Playroom. It's a genuinely good game. We've got Animal Crossing: New Horizons, also a genuinely good game. We've got Fallout New Vegas, also a genuinely good game. But I think I want to disqualify that one first because I think it's not as good as everyone says it is. So on that reason, it's out.
I can't believe this. I'm physically betrayed. It's the one modern Fallout game that is actually as good as people think it is. The other two are 7 out of 10s with a bit of icing on their cakes.
No, that's what Fallout New Vegas is. Fallout New Vegas is just Fallout 3, except it's buggier, crashier, and more pretentious. That's it.
That last thing is what makes it outstanding. We need more pretentious things.
That is true. But the thing is, I really love Obsidian, and my favorite thing about Fallout New Vegas is that it taught them that they could make better Bethesda games than Bethesda, which they are now doing. We've got Avowed coming out this year. We've had the Outer Worlds, which are basically Bethesda games that don't take 500 hours to complete and are pretty tight, well-written experiences, which Bethesda games aren't any of those things. So, I love it. And I do actually like Fallout New Vegas a lot, but I need to find reasons to nitpick, Mark, and that's,
It can't win because it led to good things.
Yeah, exactly. We don't like that around here. Okay. Right? No, it can't win because it's not... Actually, no, hang on. It can't win because it's not the best game that's been presented. That's why it can't win. See, that's within the rules, right? Right.
That is the whole point. That's the whole point of the show.
Exactly. Right, and now I've got a bit of a task because, I'm basically put into a really awkward position here because I've played all these games and I like them all, but if I'm being honest with myself, I think the best one out of the remaining two is Astro's Playroom. And everyone's going to shout at me for that because Astro's Playroom takes 10 minutes to finish. But it is genuinely and remains, it's the free shitty game that you get with the PS5. And it is, to this day, the best PS5 game. Nothing has matched it in terms of the features of that console that it uses, that it leverages, in terms of its art direction, in terms of just how joyous it is a world to exist in. And Animal Crossing, I find...
tedious.
I find it's there's too much Animal Crossing for me.
It is ruining my life even as it makes me happy. Yeah. So that's completely understandable.
Yeah, I mean, you yourself revealed that you haven't actually got the guilt tripping emails because you haven't been able to pull yourself away. And even if you play the National Lottery, right? I am going somewhere with this, I promise. You can set limits on how much time you spend on the National Lottery website because they've gone to real great lengths to make sure that nobody gets addicted to playing the lottery, right? And you can actually set cost limits and stuff, and you can't change them. You have to wait a month to change them and stuff like that, right? So they've really we're locking this down. It's a fun national gambling obsession that we're going to try to not have ruin anyone's life. And I feel like that makes the National Lottery a slightly more moral proposition than what you're experiencing with Animal Crossing, which is it's ruining everything, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think on that basis, I think it's perfectly reasonable to then say, well, between the two of them, Astro's Playroom, once you finish that, you're done. That's it.
But you can just keep coming back and having fun with it, right? Can't you? Just little moments of fun. I've enjoyed this last few minutes because I've just been looking at Mark and he's well pissed off. Look at him. He's furious about what he thought.
I am perfect. I am perfectly fine, and I'm very much looking forward to the game Jim's going to present in the extra segment.
Listen, look, Mark thought he was on a surefire win with what is essentially a Bethesda formula game, a Bethesda adjacent game, basically a Bethesda. Can we just settle something? Because we got a lot of shit on Twitter recently for describing Hi-Fi Rush as a Bethesda game on the basis that we had to do that because the joke was that we were saying Bethesda's best game of the year is Hi-Fi Rush and it's our game of the year. And it's the joke doesn't work if you acknowledge that it's not actually a Bethesda developed game. It's been a bee in my bonnet for weeks. I'm explaining jokes to Twitter people now. But there was a genuine sort of argument in our mentions on Twitter about whether or not publishing a game means that you get the credit for it. And it's people only do that with Bethesda games. No, they don't. How do you credit Call of Duty? Activision. Why? Because there's 700 fucking Call of Duty studios, right? and also the publisher is literally the owner of the property. Hi-Fi Rush is a Bethesda game. Fallout New Vegas, by the very same logic, is also a Bethesda game. I want to clear this up. Right. Now that that's cleared up. Tom, well done. Astro's Playroom is the best game that's been presented so far, and we're going to move on to the new segment now, which is where I reveal what I picked for this before we started, and I've written it down so I can't even claim to I can't even cheat or anything. And
is it a sealed envelope?
It's not sealed, but I haven't had time to write this down, have I? I mean, I have, but that's what I did.
I can't read that.
It was Sleeping Dogs, right? You can just about tell that says Sleeping Dogs.
You're very pixely on my screen. Thank you for reading it to me.
Right. So I would have picked Sleeping Dogs for that category if I was a contestant, which I'm not. This is weird having to reveal what I would have picked, because usually I just get to sit here and lord it over everyone, but now I've got to justify myself. And now that I'm playing the game like the rest of you guys do, it feels very unpleasant, actually. So
the
sorry
turns
about
have tabled.
that. Yeah, exactly. But the reason, Sleeping Dogs, I think, is one of the greatest GTA clones of all time, which I know Mark agrees with. And it is the game. I've completed Sleeping Dogs from start to finish, not including the DLC because it's shite. But I've gone through Sleeping Dogs 7 or 8 times in my life, and yet any game from the past sort of 3 years, I probably haven't completed it once. 90% of them I haven't even gotten to the 25% mark, because who's got the time? But I still find time to complete Sleeping Dogs, almost once a year. So
I honestly thought this was just a joke, the bit about how you love Sleeping Dogs. I didn't realise you actually loved it.
No, it's not a bit. I love Sleeping Dogs. I think it's great. I think it's a wonderful game. It's genuinely one of the greatest GTA clones of all time. It's one of the few GTA clones that actually does GTA as well as Rockstar does.
Why do you think it didn't? People didn't love it when it got released, right? It was a 7-8 out of 10 game.
Did people not love it when it was released?
I don't think so. Not like one of the greatest GTA clones of all time level. I'm pretty sure it was an oak.
Being published
people
by
liked
Square
it.
Enix probably hurt it, because it hurts fucking everything. They've been sitting on Tomb Raider has just been printing money for them for however many years, and their entire narrative about that fucking series is, well, it doesn't make enough money.
That's gone, isn't it? They got rid of Tomb Raider.
Yeah, we can only buy 7 yachts instead of 9. So, but I think the reason, I don't think Sleeping Dogs was marketed particularly well. And I think maybe the fact that it's basically GTA Hong Kong might have hindered that, might not have helped it, because I think people, when they think of GTA clones, they might think of Saints Row, which there is a sense that if you're doing an alternative to GTA, it has to be a back to basics sort of fun thing without any sort of, and the problem with GTA is that it's gone too gritty and people are sort of being murdered in it, and it's really sad, and there's drugs and there's references to the 2008 Wall Street crash, etc. People don't want to think about that. People want to
aren't being met.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people want to what they want out of GTA is basically to be Trevor, and just be and have it dialed up to 15 the whole time. And something like Saints Row gives you that, whereas what Sleeping Dogs does is go, we're infiltrating the triads in a very, very realistic representation of Hong Kong, and actually it's not, there's action and stuff in it. You can leap from car to car and all that stuff, which is the most amazing car combat anyone's ever done, frankly.
No, it isn't. But have you ever said or referred to the game as Sleepy Dogs?
No. Never, not once.
Are you sure?
No, I haven't,
never
because
used
I have
the word
too much
Sleepy
fucking
Dogs.
respect for it, and I actually dislike that.
One of the reasons I think hate actually is true, this game, is because people refer to it as Sleepy Dogs.
But that's not the game's fault. That's
it is
not
the game's fault.
It's
the
not.
game, no one's distanced themselves from this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I am.
And it annoys me every time it's referred to as Sleepy Dogs.
Right.
I sigh internally.
You
to
can
myself.
check every single form of communication.
It's like when people go doggos, right? Doggos. No.
I've never referred to this game as Sleepy Dogs. I don't like that pattern. Apart from just then when I was explaining that I don't.
I want to be part of the cool kids. I'm going to do a tweet. I'm playing Sleepy Dogs.
No, I don't. I've never, because I think it's disrespectful. I've never referred to it as Sleepy Dogs.
Someone's going to find it. I'm going to. If
they
someone,
won't.
Someone's. I
guarantee you.
Listening to this.
I've written like to find at least half a dozen articles about this fucking game, and I've never once referred to it as.
Well, someone's going to go through and check. You better be right, Jim.
I'm 100% correct. I'm 100% correct.
Don't let him edit your articles, Jim. He has access.
I'm pretty sure the last time I wrote about it might have been on NME or something. So, good luck editing that, Tom. But yeah, honestly, I respect the game too much. I'm not like, I'll tell you exactly how much I respect the fucking game. Right. This is up in the living room, which my wife absolutely loves. So yeah, I'm reminded of it every time I wake up in the morning. It's right above where I work because it represents to me what people can achieve if they put their mind to it. You know,
you're reminded of it about 11 a.m. every day.
Yeah. I'm reminded that you can work really hard and make one of the best games ever made, and still people will regard it as a shitty 6 out of 10, and it'll flop. So what it represents to me is that you should never try, right? Anyway, but Sleeping Dogs is my pick, and I noticed that Mark can't even pick holes in it. So,
well, I haven't really had a chance. I was going to say it's a video game that I do like, but essentially, for me, the only reason that I liked it is because I was too scared that I might not like the Yakuza series before I tried it. So I thought, right, we'll jump to Sleeping Dogs first, because that's a bit similar to GTA, which I've played before and my tiny Western brain can comprehend, and make sure that I like that, and then eventually go, right, we'll now get into the weird karaoke and all of the interesting facets of Japanese culture. So basically, it's a game that. It's a gateway drug. You're on the way to something that's very good, and you're just in the good until then.
Are you saying that like Hong Kong itself, it's basically a gateway to Asia for Westerners? Essentially,
yes, if that colonial metaphor won't portray me as racist.
That's what I was getting at. You know, we want to be a bit careful here, but how Hong Kong is. We did sort of have it for a bit, didn't we? And Hong Kong breakfast ramen is instant noodles, a fried egg, and some fried spam, which is, that's like, if the noodles were Bachelor's Super Noodles, that's just like every student's like breakfast, isn't it, in the UK? So it's there's a lot of cultural crossover there. Right, so I think that works definitely. But I think it is a gateway to Yakuza in the sense that it's nothing like the Yakuza games, but like you're coming out of your comfort zone.
And I mean,
it does have karaoke, so
it's a gateway drug to the Yakuza games, and Fallout New Vegas is a gateway drug to reading about Nietzsche. Which is arguably better for you than playing the Yakuza games because it doesn't take up 9 million hours of your time.
That's true. He
I told you he's waited to the end of the extra segment to bring it up again.
Yeah,
he can't let it go.
Yeah, he is raging. But yeah, well, look, I don't think Sleeping Dogs is a worse game than how am I going to word this? I think Sleeping Dogs better than any of the games that you guys brought up, frankly. So, if I was playing, I would give myself the point. But I'm magnanimous, and I won't do that.
Surely that's just a demonstration of why the judge doesn't play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got to keep things even these days, where all of our institutions are crumbling under the weight of vested self-interest. I'm not going to let that sort of corruption affect this game, and I hope you all appreciate that. All right, anyway.
Respectful position.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm going to let Tom win, even though I had the better pick. And also, I'm not allowed to win because it's not in the rules. All right, is everyone happy? Tom won, and he looks fucking miserable.
I'm just looking at the time. That's all.
Right, okay. All right, well, thanks very much for listening. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify or your favorite podcast catcher of choice, and please leave us a 5-star review, even if you don't think we deserve it. But if you leave us a 5-star review, it'll give us something to aim for. So everyone, say goodbye. And by the way, that last bit, the plan is eventually to get the episode that has the extended last bit. You're gonna have to pay for it. So,
I was hoping we'd introduce that a bit better than that.
Yeah.
If anything, we planted the seed of me being angry to get them to pay the money. So
yeah, exactly. If you want to see Mark disappointed every week, then more details on that later. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.